Welcome back to Gamers Frustration, playing Hoi 4 World Ablaze mod. This is, of course, Gamer1745 here. Hope you're ready. Maybe we'll have some good rants. Maybe we'll just hang out and talk about, which I've been trying to talk about, Rudolf Hess, but getting interrupted by other crap, having to deal with things here. Okay, we need more chromium and what? Oh, we have. So do we not have enough? We have plus units of iron for use. Why do we have a deficit now? I thought I freaking. I don't understand this. Are you supposed to get all of? Hello, Nate. How you doing? We were fed up with steely determination. Yeah. Well, they've gotten better. We now have two levels of generals. You have a army group of general level, currently von Rundstedt, Army Group 1, and you have functionally an army. We don't have corps or divisional level generals yet, but that's how they are. Otherwise, they're largely like Hoi 4, in which they have a basic skill level and traits. And though when you want to try to we can click here. When you want to try to you sort of earn traits sort of kind of by what you're doing in activity, and then you sort of pick, and sometimes they're mutually exclusive and you can only have so many and things and whatnot. So it's not just the same, but it's an improvement over what it started out as. For sure, big improvement. Okay, well, maybe we don't need all this steel. I don't know. God, I'm just frustrated right now. Well, now we're actually producing things. We're not producing trains? We need to be producing trains. How could we not be producing trains? Trains. We need trains. Sounds about right. Let's get trains coming in. Okay, nationalists have declared a war. Deploy these guys out here. Now, if I were to not send attaché. So send volunteers. Oh, I can't send. Oh, that's right. We have to do a special thingy. With an iron will, yeah. Well, we'll see about sending a special thing. An attaché. Now we're going to let's start on this, and yeah, construction speed. We'll start on that. We need to get that and then that to be able to send. Oops. So, Rudolf Hess. We're back on Rudolf Hess from last episode if you're not watching this live or proclaim the Axis. I don't know how they proclaimed the Axis. Oh, I know the Axis was. Yeah, but so Rudolf Hess is a member of this Thule Society. They are an esoteric, racist society. I think that would be an accurate description of them. Yes, the bison. I don't know if anyone's currently in the military that's here now. And like I was saying earlier, World War I has come to an end. Society is collapsing for those of the old order. You have radical new things happening. And these people want influence in this new world. The Thule Society members, the Thule Society, Condor Legion. So they decide to start a political party. Now, as far as I can tell, none of these people had any real political party experience. But they set up a political party. It's in Bavaria. They're located in Bavaria. And they realize, well, hey, we need a party that's going to get a lot of votes to do anything. So if we call it the Thule Party or the Weird Esoteric Belief Party or whatever you want to call it, you know, we sit around and have seances and whatnot, vote for us. No, they realize that isn't going to work. So they decided to, you know, call it something that the masses are going to get behind. And so, well, you know, one thing, we got to call it German because, yeah, hey, we're Germans. And, you know, there's a lot of workers out there because at this time, I don't know how many women voted. You know, I mean, it was most women voted, I think, in Germany at this time, but I don't know the voting levels of it. Maybe they're high. But women's wife or husbands work. So we're going to call it the German Workers' Party, or in German, the Deutsches Arbeiterspartei, the German Workers' Party. And one of the founding members of the German Workers' Party and one of the early members of the Thule Society is Rudolf Hess. So, Rudolf Hess. He's in there. He is considered a rather charismatic, a rather likable sort of person. And so they, you know, he's there doing the thing, being in the party. And I was a worker. Yeah, that kind of thing. People would vote for him. But, you know, it's sort of bland. They're sort of like, I don't think they really even they might have a, okay, well, just so that you know, most major political parties in Germany at that time have at least one newspaper, a party newspaper that puts out news and information. Radio isn't much of a thing for political usage. Somebody comes along as a pioneer for that just in a few years. We're talking, this is talking like in the early 1920s, like 1920, 1921, 1922. I forget the exact date, but around there. So radio isn't much of a use. If you want to get your message out there, it's sort of printed in a newspaper, or you get someone to either stand on a street corner or go into a beer cellar, or you hire a hall somewhere, you know, like could be rent out a beer cellar for, you know, to speak in. So, and then, you know, you hand out flyers, come to our speaking event, you know, Tuesday night after work, you know, people handing these things out on the street, trying to get to there. And you have, I believe one of them was Speaker Anton Drexler and whatever else. And they come up and they would talk about things, and people go, whatever, another free beer, sure, no problem. And you know, the army is interested in all of these different parties that are popping up, because there's not just the few traditional parties, you know, and so they send out some what they think politically reliable working class type guys from the army. One of them one of them is sort of noted, and he was one of the very few NCOs to earn the Iron Cross First Class in World War I. One of the very, very few NCOs to do that. He was a corporal, had been blinded for a while. What do we have? Oh, we could do better tanks now that we're actually producing crap. There were lots of parties in Weimar. Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Lots of non-party groups like the Thule too. Well, but see, the Thule, all of the, as far, and again, Gamer doesn't know everything, but Gamer's read a lot, and I don't know everything. But to my understanding, all of the sort of board of directors, if you will, the controlling members of the German Workers' Party are all Thule Society members. So it is a party controlled by the Thule Society, by the Thule Society. So it's sort of, or it is an attempt to have control over society instead of, okay, I truly believe because there, and I forget, I have to look it up, but there's a few German whacked out philosophers. Don't think I'm thinking they're anything rational there, and in fact they wouldn't call themselves rational. They would call themselves emotional, or whatever the term that they would use, I don't know, but they're not rationalists. But all of the people that create the Thule Society, I believe that they're trying to control society. I believe that they are trying to do so by getting elites into their society and trying to influence elites through their mysticism, through their esotericism, and whatnot. It is a means to power. If you're looking at, and the place where there is a king in Bavaria and a Kaiser at the same time as that there is a Kaiser in Berlin. So you have the Kingdom of Bavaria, you have the Kaiser in Berlin, you have an elitist society. Yes, you have voting. Yes, you have political parties, but the people that really count are, often have titles or are big industrialists or other elites. Oh, good. We have some Romanians here. Very good. Very, very good. The Latins of the East, if you will. So, but this is no longer going to be the case, and they realize this. So they start this political party to have influence over society. And they control this political party. But it's sort of not much is happening. This corporal goes to some of the meetings. And as my understanding is, he also goes to other meetings of other parties and reports on them, as far as I understand. Oh, I need to send off people to Spain here. But what do we want to get in production? Just looking here. We have, well, let's look at what we need. Yes, we'll get people going to Spain. We need support equipment. We need artillery. So we're going to do artillery. So yes, spam out more of these things. But let's do 5 per and do another 5. Let's come down here now and see about and volunteers. Okay, it's only 1. That's what I wanted to know. So I need to come here and create, well, unassigned, and we're going to assign you to your own little group here, and we're going to have Rommel in charge of it. And we're going to come over here. We're going to put that again. Send volunteers. We'll also do air volunteers while I'm thinking of it here. And we're going to send Rommel. Send Rommel. Rommel's going to Spain. Okay, so little corporal really sort of likes some of the messages here with the DAP. They're sort of his sort of people. Sort of. But he sees that they're pathetic. So instead of just hanging around in the background and taking notes and reporting to his superiors about, what this party is doing, is it a danger, is it, all right for society or whatever, he starts speaking at these little events. I don't know exactly how it's going. I don't know if there's good records on it, whether he's asking to speak or challenges the speaker or whatever else. But he's an impressive speaker. Although most of his life, including in the army, no one really likes him. He isn't really liked. But he is an impressive speaker. Oh, and the corporal's name is, I know you've already guessed it, is Adolf Hitler. But he looks around and sees that these guys are really freaking pathetic. They use a swastika, yeah, that's sort of the hip happening symbol of a lot of the soldiers. It means good luck for them, and so Hitler's familiar. Like I say, a lot of soldiers have been using this symbol. Ooh, yeah. So he starts speaking at this, and he's rather impressive. And the organizers, including Anton Drexler, realize that when Hitler speaks, more people listen. People actually pay attention. And when Hitler speaks, more people come to the party, as well as join the party. So he gains a lot of influence. But he, and I don't know if, well, okay. So he's a new guy here. And let's see, we want to do, let's do binaries. Let's do this one first. We may need to do some more fuel silos here. Speaking of that, let's just put a few fuel silos on the plan to build. Now, you have this guy, he's getting a lot of influence. Well, what are you going to do? Maybe he's going to come in and wreck our good thing here. Who is this guy? So what do you do? And now this is basically everything I've been saying up to this moment. Maybe a little bit of my analysis is like I'm saying that they want to control society. You don't form a political party unless you want to control society. You know, for good or for bad. You know, it's not necessarily, you know, a bad reason. You want to like make things better. That's how you see them better. You know, they of course want to make it better by having the right race and power. You know, and all these other nutty things. But yeah, it's not a bad thing to try to create a party or try to create a society, an organization. Again, theirs is bad, but just the mere fact that it's a a thing doesn't mean that it needs to be bad. This purple, we're going to send you up to here. But yeah, in this case, it is bad. And so you have this new guy. And who is he? What is he? And so, yeah, everything I've said is some analysis by me, but basically, I think historically driven facts here. Talking about the Netherlands. Okay, good. Okay, bugs are important. They stop cancer, right? I don't know why bugs would stop cancer, but I think they assign, the Thule Society assigns Rudolf Hess to investigate Adolf Hitler. I don't know if they find out that he is sort of the, or if Hess finds out if he's sort of the infiltrator from the army or not. I don't know when and how widely that was known. I just don't have that on good information right now. But definitely he, I think Hess is assigned to be, by the Thule Society, to be Hitler's sort of watcher. You know, watch this guy, hang around this guy, find out who he is. Because he is getting powerful in the society, and Hitler looks and goes, yeah, your swastika symbol, that's okay, that's good, but you know, you draw it sort of skinny and it's just sort of lost in the background. Here, we need big, thick lines. And you know, national, German Workers' Party, yeah, but you know, Socialism is really popular. And I know a lot of people know Nazis aren't socialist. Yes, they are. And you see a lot of anti-socialist rhetoric from Hitler. Yes, there is. But you also have to understand is he goes, we need a red flag like the socialists. But we're not socialists. But we are. But we're not. Well, we're not those socialists. We're socialists, but we're not those socialists. We're not the Internationale socialists, the Comintern socialists. We are red, but we're not those reds. Now we're going to use a black swastika and a white around it And then red, well, that's black, white, and red, the colors of the German flag. So it'll be the German flag colors. But it's going to be a red flag because we're national socialists. We're not the international socialists. We're not those socialists, but we're the German National Socialist Workers' Party, the NSDAP. So he actually, and then sort of, instead of having the sort of squared swastika, he himself is the one who puts it sort of in mobile, sort of at an angle, and he draws. It's literally Hitler, as far as I can tell. He literally draws that flag up, does the proportions, how thick the lines on the swastika should be, how big around the circle should be away from the swastika, and then just general standard flag dimensions are used for that, because it's a common thing. Now, Hitler is a failed art student, so Hitler has a good sense of perspective and thinking, oh, we got a bot over on YouTube if you want to go kill it, if you haven't already, Arno. And hello, Federico Vargo. Yes, they are socialist, or more than socialist, populist. Mix of both. Yes, and it's not Marxist leveling socialist, if you understand. Karl Marx, right? It's socialism, but it's not Marxist socialism, and it's not leveling. I've come to use that term more. That a lot of people don't know or understand it. It's a term that was commonly used in the 17th century in England. They were the levelers. Now, levelers back then were not communists, but they wanted society to be level, meaning everyone have like the same roughly farm size. There wasn't going to be some, person way back then. There's normally a title, lord or count or duke or whatever the hell. But there wasn't going to somebody have a huge farm and have lots of people working for them. Everyone's going to have their own sort of farm size or their own sort of small business size. They were levelers. They wanted society to be equal, wanted it to be level, but not communally held, as far as I can tell. So they weren't communists. Again, as far as I can tell, and I'm not an expert on leveling back in the 17th century, and there's all kinds of publications, and there very well could be some publication in 17th century England that was espousing what would be communism. But generally speaking, they weren't, as far as I know, communists. But Marxist socialism, taken to its extreme, communism, but all of socialism out of Marxism is trying to level society, trying to make everybody, the doctor, the plumber, the field hand, the guy who sweeps up in the factory, all gets the same pay, kind of thing. That's Marxist leveling. Okay. The National Socialism of Germany is hierarchical. It is collective ownership in society in general, though individuals may have responsibility, individual ownership of huge segments of society, like Krupp Steel or something. Krupp, I don't know if he owned all of the factory, solely or probably just a major part of it, maybe even a majority of Krupp Steel. So yes, you could do that, but it's still collectively owned by society as a whole. So if he's not managing Krupp Steel correctly, whatever that might mean, it can be taken away from him. So like if he were to go, I own Krupp Steel. Well, tomorrow you're all fired, and I'm shutting down the plant, and I'm just not gonna make steel anymore. So, no, under National Socialism, we get to take over the steel factory. You can't just close it down. We own it. If you don't run it right, we'll take it from you. But if you run it right, well, yeah, but you can't make unfair profits. You can make a profit. You can have a profit percentage on it because, hey, yeah, you're doing a good job. You're running this steel, but you can't do an unfair profit. So they weren't free market capitalism. Well, even more bots are showing up, Arno, on YouTube. So I'll get to Vargo's thing. So Krupp is owned by him unless he acts against the state. Then that kind of thing. Nationalize the factory. So long as it's it's sort of, you can own this thing, sure, so long as you're managing it in a way, not that, oh, you made a mistake, we're going to take it away from you, or, oh, it's not 100% right. No, so long as it's generally responsibly as they see it, you get to own it. So it is hierarchical socialism, but there is socialism in there, in that you can really see, in the inner cities, they go in and clean up. I've seen from when the National Socialists come into power, and a few years later, they cleaned up most of the I don't know, you call them ghettos, but ghetto has a Jewish connotation to it, and they still had those. Most of the poor areas of the centers of cities, in which that they'd have a huge building, or multi-story building, like of 6 or 8 stories, and there was literally no toilets in all that building, and there was an outhouse behind, and they were all row houses like this, set there, and the description is that they literally put rocks or bricks or something so that you could step on them to walk to the outhouse and do your business, and then like in a pond, but that was just all sludge. And it was, but the building still, some still I think exist, survived the bombing, the war, but they went in and reduced the occupancy down to a reasonable level of occupancy, made the owners put in plumbing, toilets and that whole thing into the apartments. And so the buildings from, the front or the outside were the same buildings, but inside the conditions were totally better. These are for the right type of people, not for those that eventually end up wearing yellow stars or other wrong type of people. So, yeah, you have a landlord can be a landlord, but he can't be a slum maybe is the term I was looking for. Can't be a slum landlord in National Socialist Germany. So there's definitely that socialist aspect for sure in National Socialism. Now there's a lot of other tenement apartments where huge problem public housing was in Weimar, and but National Socialist Germany really, really works hard at solving that problem, if you will. So, Goring Steelworks. Well, now you have to separate, Nate, National Socialism as in its civilian or ideal form versus National Socialism because of the war. National Socialism, unlike fascism and unlike communism, doesn't want planned economies. Hitler doesn't like planned economies. Hitler likes competition. He likes that sort of fighting out of things within governments, within bureaus, between major firms, that kind of thing. He doesn't want a planned economy. Especially under Speer, they're forced with a planned economy, but it's a purely economy to support the war. So yes, you have the sort of government-owned, state-owned situations, but that is somewhat contradictory to National Socialism as Hitler wants it to exist. Adopted in 1930. I will say that later. Okay. So yeah, National Socialism is a socialism. I'm still back and forth on whether it's right-wing or left-wing, because there's definitely left-wing aspects. There's definitely nationalism and traditionalism, or neo-traditionalism, meaning trying to create a neo-paganist society that never existed, so it isn't the traditionalism of the 18th century or the traditionalism of the 16th century or something, which you could have records for. It's taking some of that mythical past, past, but trying to, we should celebrate the Olympics. Gain stability. Yes, we want to do that. So there's definitely, looking to the past, and also, but mythically to, the Thule society, Thule, the ancient world that the super beings came from, that they're trying to create this myth that doesn't really exist, that they're trying to create evidence for, including literally faking archaeological evidence for. So, line between right and left wing socialism in Nazi Germany is, very blurry, and you definitely have strong left-leaning people like Goebbels, and then you have not left-leaning types like Himmler in it. Now Himmler, of course, develops whole state organizations. So, you know, it's blurry, and I'm still not, you know, landed. It's left wing or it's right wing. I sometimes think it's left wing. Sometimes I think it's right wing. Sometimes it's just sorry. Agriculture was directed by their party agricultural organization. I forgot the name. Yes, you're the guy who does Walter Duret. He's the agriculture, at least the first agricultural secretary in that. And yeah, I'm going to, now that I found that it's part of Audible, I'm going to listen to Toz's book here sometime soon. I've read excerpts from it, and but you got to understand that you know, they also want to go back to some mythical small level prosperous peasant farmer instead of industrialized farming. And so, yeah, it's a lot of wacky stuff going on, leaning to one side or the other, depending on which leader you read about. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, there's definitely, you know, there's Hitler, and then there's people around him, you know, Rosenberg, Daré, and others that are all influencing the situation. Production, yes. Let's see. Yeah, we'll get that into full production. Let's see. I want to just try to get the things that are mostly done and completed first. Need more tungsten. So I'm still, quite honestly, trying to come to understand, because, you know, obviously, you know, with Marxism, it's Marx and Engels that writes that. And then, of course, you can have it adjusted by Lenin or Mao or other sorts of thinkers on there. But with National Socialism, you have, you know, people like this out of the Thule Society and some other, you know, Wagner, though Wagner, you know, predates Nazis, and I wouldn't call him a Nazi, but he's definitely an influence. So you have, okay, we're going to do this here, not the weapons contracts, but do we want to do, okay, that is 35 days, 21 days, 21 days. Let's see, before we get there, I want to do, because I want to get down here, so when we get to some of these panzers, we get benefit research done there. Oh, are we really? Okay, we really are. We're burning through these fast. Good. They have very labor-intensive agriculture, which is why they needed more. Yeah, that's particularly Walter Duret wants to do, instead of industrialized monoculture for agriculture. He wants to do that labor-intensive German mythical kind of thing, which would have cost civil war versus reactionaries. Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about, Poop Hunter, there, but Stalin Boy, yeah, I don't know. I do see Stalin Boy 88. I'm sort of ignoring, but I see Stalin as more evil than Hitler ever was. I mean, Hitler's evil. Hitler's just not as evil. So I don't know why people put that constitutional and monarchist. Well, why don't you have a monarchist? Oh, we have a lot of political power here we should have been using. I'm being distracted. Okay, we're not doing anything that really helps. Ribbentrop, great deal appeal, political power gain. Okay, we're gonna do political power gain. Not sure what I want to keep this from getting worse. I know some of the offer better wages mandatory. Yeah, let's do that for the moment. I think that may be good. Don't care about that. Industrialized research, electronic research. Sorry, radar station. I don't need that. Steel melter. Guess we'll do that. We still got some more. Or do this because I'm fairly sure. I think Nazi Germany as a regime was definitely more evil than the Soviet Union, although they aren't far behind, but Stalin as a person was definitely more evil than Hitler. Well, as far as I can tell, the Soviets killed a lot more people than, and I'm not talking fighting in the war, I'm talking in gulags and other Holodomor in Ukraine. And I think leveling is evil because leveling is against the nature of mankind, and trying to force mankind into something that it is not is as evil or eviler than racism and mass murder based on racism. If you're doing mass murder on leveling, to me that's evil. And I know they've tricked the communists have tricked so many people into believing that equality is somehow a good thing. Equality is a bad thing. Now if you want to say equality before the law, meaning the judge, you know, if you break the law, the judge treats you. Now, obviously, if you're rich, you have better lawyers and all that kind of stuff. But theoretically, judge should treat every person before him equally. The police officers, you know, that is, you know, equality before the law is different than equality of outcome. And you're forcing and you're willing to kill millions of people to get the equality of outcome. I find that to be very evil. So, and I believe the only way in any regime so far, I think we want these. That to get that is having to kill millions of people. Well, Stalin was smart enough not to try to take on the whole world. I don't know that Hitler. Yeah, Hitler gambles. So does Stalin, of course, but Hitler gambles and loses. So yeah, you know, trust me, yes, Nazi ideology is evil and death camps are evil, but and you see, you know, the reason it's more, reason people think Nazism is more evil is because the sort of non-evil people sitting over here, you know, traditionalists, traditional liberalists. I don't mean leftists. I mean, hey, people, let everyone do what they want. Sort of like libertarians. We agree that we say Nazism is evil, and the communists also say Nazism is evil. So everybody but Nazis say Nazism is evil. So people think Nazism is more evil. But when you have one group that's even more evil out there is who will also privately say you're evil too, so yeah, I find Stalinism, Maoism, and not just those leaders, but the whole system to be more evil than communism. And I know all of the leftists out there think somebody like Marx is good. Look at what Marx says about slavery and race. I think you might find that he sort of defends slavery. So, the agrarian constitution sums up the idea as everyone is equal before the law, and there are only distinctions on individual talents and virtues. Yeah, but you see, it's like everybody, like in theory, I would say, maybe not in practice, but in theory, it would be best that everybody pays the same percentage of their income in taxes. Now, of course, the rich person is having more income each year, so he'll pay more taxes, but it should be the same percentage in theory. I know practice doesn't, and I would find reasons, make too little, you shouldn't pay any, I'm not an absolutist on anything, but in theory, everyone should pay the same percentage in taxes and not have loopholes for the rich. A lot of people will talk about it. Yeah, they do. There's all that kind of stuff. Well, yeah, Stalin, I don't know. Stalin's, what the hell? Why are you saying Stalin slaughters his own people for power? Stalin slaughters all kinds of people, not just his people for power. He takes over the Warsaw Pact and pushes into, like Mongolia and other places. Oh, he kills all kinds of people. And the communists, of course, support the killing of mass peoples, all over the world in the Cold War. Or the conception of his own people, not even he's not Russian, he's Georgian. The spirit of the article is that everyone is equal to, and that's the spirit. Obviously, you have more money, you get better lawyers, and that kind of thing. So I mean, in practice, it isn't in theory, but so equality before the law. Yeah, okay. Now, as a theory, now you could also say that there might be reasons for special privileges for some, but maybe special responsibilities as well. And special privilege isn't just because your father was somebody who had a title. It's maybe you serve in the military, so you get government-supported higher education or something like that. So it's not necessarily like special privileges for the elite. But okay, I could talk about why some people might get special privileges, but I can also talk about maybe nobody should have them. Again, I'm not an absolutist on all that stuff. So also in Uruguay, everyone is subject to surprising high taxes for SA. For South America, I guess that's what you mean, SA, think about it for a moment. And Uruguay seems to be one of the more functioning countries in South America as far as I know. Now, I don't know whether it's geography, culture, or other sorts of reasons why they are doing better. I'm guessing Federico Varga is from Uruguay. I know Uruguay is the maybe more correct pronunciation, but I will use the American Uruguay just because that's what we understand, and I'm not trying to be elitist or whatever and say it different. A mix of reasons, yes. No, Starstreak is not Romanian. He's just saying Romania stunk. I know that. I don't know what he's might try to pretend, but so yeah, you know, you have this kind of stuff going on with them. So Rudolf Hess, I think he is. Oh, well, it's time to end the episode. I guess the continuation of Rudolf Hess's story will happen next episode. I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for liking the video if you would. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. See you next time for more, yes, more hearts.